and bring you the best resources, whether it's a builder who's building a project in downtown or somebody from a builder in the suburban areas building new construction. If it is a top real estate agent who handles the luxury market or a particular area of town, we plan to bring in guests. We will be taking questions from listeners that want us to cover certain things, whether it's tips on how to hire a great agent to help you sell your property or working with a buyer agent. So with that, I'm looking forward to running through this, Perry. Let's get into some of the news that's going on with real estate in Austin. So in the podcast, we'll have a link off of Austin Real Estate Today, the website, to these articles. But we will always cover one or two articles, sometimes three, about what's going on in the market. So you see here, obviously, Austin City Council's got some plans going on 4 new major mixed projects. The first one is the Estancia Hill Country project. And we're talking about some big stuff here, Perry. You know, whether these all go through and what the timing is. I mean, Estancia Hill Country is almost 600 acres. It's down in South Travis County, I-35 and FM 1327. I'll tell you, this is going to be yet another big project. You're talking about 730 single-family homes, 1,500 plus apartments, 900,000 square feet of office space, a huge corporate office complex, and a little more than 400,000 square feet of retail. And so you're talking about all that set with pretty close to 100 plus acres of open space and parks. Big project. I think what this is showing is Austin is continuing to grow and grow quickly, and we're going to continue to see these things. Now the next one is over by, it's Easton. So it's McKinley Falls Parkway. Now this is over by the airport, an area I know you know pretty well. And we've got a big land developer there that's, we're talking about southeast Austin really taking off. And I know you've seen some other projects over there. 14,000 plus residences are planned on this 22-acre project. Another 750,000 square feet. So, you know, we're talking huge amounts of office space. And this one has a monstrous 4.6 million square feet of civic and commercial and up to 400 acres of parks. They're going to have 2 school locations and a fire district. You're seeing that Del Valley area, and I know we've talked about this before, Perry. It's really taken off out there, isn't it?
Yeah, the F1 track is really stirring some growth over there. Plus, when you combine it with the village mentality that these mixed-use projects are bringing, it makes a really effective investment into an area when you can bring all those different things into a single spot where you can walk and you know, just instead of jumping in your car and driving to work, it really creates a good alternative for a living lifestyle.
Absolutely, and I think if you look back and you go back in the history book, I think people got a lot more confident after the long battle of Circle C and these big master plan communities, and they saw that, you know what, the balance between open space and parks and viewing a great big project that does have, in this case, more than 400 acres of parks and open space, are going to be approvable. They're going to be palatable to the market, and they see the success in these big master plan communities. Now, obviously, Circle C doesn't have a lot of giant retail and office space down there, but most of the new stuff does. Now the next one, Sun Chase. We're talking Highway 71 out by Pierce Lane near the airport. This is 1,600 acres over there as well. That area is really taken off, like you said, because of the F1 track. Another almost 1,300 townhomes and condos, and I know you do quite a bit of work with condos, usually in downtown. More apartments. We're going to talk about apartments today in a different update of what's going on in downtown, and 635 acres of open space. And yet more school sites and another EMS site. So what you're really seeing is a lot of stuff absolutely taken off, like you said, in that southeast area around F1. Now the last one, which I know that you probably have been keeping tabs on because of your focus on downtown, First and Riverside. This is over by RunTex, right?
Yeah, right over there by RunTex. The heart of
the
living district of downtown.
I tell you what, you know, I've seen it change so much in the last 3 or 4 years, let alone, but when I first moved to Austin in 1997, I mean, downtown was a whole different place.
Absolutely.
And it really is turning into, I was showing an out-of-town buyer property in Travis Heights this weekend, and we spent a lot of time over in the downtown area just so you get an idea about how close it is and what the lifestyle is there. And he made the comment, because he used to travel to Austin. He lives in Washington, D.C. now, and he's like, this is so different than it was when I was here on business 4 or 5 years ago.
In October 2002, I moved down to the Towers on Town Lake, and that whole Rainy Street district was filled with crack houses. I could buy anyone for $79,000. I don't think there's a lot there under $1 million now, thanks to all the amazing development and growth there. It's really amazing.
You missed your opportunity, didn't you? You missed your opportunity to buy something over there.
We'll add that to the mini on the list.
Yeah. No, exactly. So a couple more news stories we're going to cover here fairly quickly. You know, there was some good news in the last 60 days, and we'll try and obviously, as we get these future episodes, have this stuff be very, very clear in terms of more recent. But the market, because of job growth, the next one is obviously home starts are at the highest level in 3 years, and this is driven by the strong economy and the 300-plus people a day that are relocating into the Central Texas, Austin market. I tell you what, when this Metro study data came out, and they talked about the starts, I mean, it's not slowing down, is it?
No, it's not. In fact, it kind of took a little break there for a while, and then all of a sudden, all the demand came up because there's just not a lot of good options in certain price points, especially in the downtown and surrounding central area. And I'm sure you're seeing that out in Circle C as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, the choices. What's interesting is you can go into subdivisions. You can even get further out, you know, past the Galleria over off Hamilton Pool. And there are subdivisions like D.R. Horton's building one out there, and they are almost done with the first phase. You know, they're in Lake Travis School, so they've got a lot of demand. And you go out there a year ago, they probably had 5 starts. You go out there now, they've got everything else started, almost every lot, and almost everyone is sold. So the strong job growth and the fact that there's a good lead time on land development, then going to lots, going to actual houses on the ground, is such that we won't see these immediately in some of these starts, but the projects, the builders are having a field day in selling them. I mean, you've got a lot of growth, and it just basically confirms what we see in the business on your or my side, which is if somebody wants new construction when they come in, they're almost scrambling as hard as people are when they're looking at the resale market. In other words, you go into a subdivision, they might be having new construction there, but like down in Circle C, there's a lot of the projects there where there's a couple houses left. You get a couple to choose from, and that's it. You know, and these big new projects we just talked about are going to make a big difference.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up lead time and development, because I'm sure, as you can probably attest to, when you're building a house, what do you have, 4 to 5 months, maybe 6 months of construction time?
Right.
Some of these projects downtown are 2 years away. I mean, you see some of the things that they're building downtown, like the hotels and, you know, some of the announced apartment complexes that are going to be on Rainy Street, and some of the other hotel projects, and even a condo project that was just opened up on West. Those types of things take 2 years to grow into, and you know, we'll talk about this in a little bit longer, but the advance notice that you need compared to what kind of demand is there, I mean, it's really just extra tight down there right now.
Well, and absolutely, and what's driving this is basically the next story. And again, all these stories will be linked through the show notes for this particular episode. So if you want to read the article that we're referring to, Board of Realtors released data in May. It's the most recent data that was available, and it was blockbuster numbers. I mean, the Austin metro area had a 25% increase in sales for existing homes, and the median price was up 10%. Now, if you contrast that to the national news, I mean, they're getting some good data in different markets around the country, but it's not like this. And again, real estate's local, so when you've got unemployment just over 6%, you're talking about a market that, for people coming in from outside, so if you're a buyer and you're listening to this and you're living in a market like Atlanta or Florida or back east somewhere in California, it's a whole different world than you're used to. And you need to be, and we'll talk about this in future episodes, working with an agent that can help you translate it so you don't go fall in love with a house and miss out because your expectations are not right. I mean, this is a hot